Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, No More Secrets. As always, I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht, and we have a guest on today. Yay, we love having guests.
Yay.
This is Cheryl Goodwin Magera. Say hello to the listeners and viewers, please.
Hi, I am Cheryl, and I'm excited to be here.
Excellent.
We're excited to have you.
And this is interesting because we had interviewed before Terry died last year. And I think we said it was like February or March or something like that. And then you were going to be on soon after that, but then your mom went in the hospital, and that resulted in a whole life-changing thing for you. And then after that, Terry died, which resulted in a life-changing thing for me. And then Cheryl was nice enough to reach out again because that was such a blur, that whole period with Terry dying, that I didn't know, people would still be interested. But we had met through the book 365 Days of Self-Love because she was one of the authors. So I'm really glad you reached out again.
Thanks.
I'm going to talk about your pedigree here a little bit.
Okay.
Notice Dunkel's on the show.
Not pedigree.
Founder of Wellness Within, certified life coach, hypnotherapist, best-selling author, writer, facilitator of women's retreats and workshops, and international trainer. That's hardly anything.
Gosh, what a lame-o.
She connects with women to their hearts to uncover who they were meant to be, or whatever. Cheryl provides heart-centered guidance, I like that, filled with humor and love to support their journeys and uncover blocks and barriers to help move them forward. She loves yoga, the outdoors, writing, reading, adventure, traveling, and spending time with family and friends. She's honored to support your path of self-discovery.
So what other books have you read or wrote besides for your contribution to this?
There was an earlier one that I wrote with Kim Richards as well. She's the one
Okay.
that put the compilation book together, and it was about kindness. It was called Kindness Crusaders.
That's
so
nice.
Those are my two books.
I could see that going hand in hand with this one.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, the Kindness Crusader. I think we just had one story in there piece, but these we have several in there.
Cool.
And then you also wrote this Path to Self-Love, which we'll talk about later.
Yes,
That's
I
your
did.
creation, correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you do a weekly blog,
I do a weekly blog.
and we'll post all that information
Yeah.
in terms
Yes.
of where you can find her. You said at the website CherylBeth.com, but it'll lead you to
It's really used to go by Imperfectly Charming.
Okay.
And I changed to Cheryl Beth, and then I was like, I went back to Imperfectly Charming.
I see.
So if
you can
pull
go
up-
either one.
yeah.
It'll, yeah. I like Imperfectly Charming.
Yeah.
And I like how you say she's filled with humor and that you put that first. One of the first ones, because that's what I got from you right away, was that we laughed right away, and it felt like we could say anything and just enjoy, the topic no matter what. Cause
Yeah, laughter is definitely one of my love languages.
humor is
You can tell you're very
important.
easygoing. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
that we should put love languages. So
Yeah.
anyway, so why don't we, we have this outline here, but we kind of just let it flow. We'll see what happens. But basically, when you wrote to us last year, you said that you were on a path of self-discovery. And if you want to just talk about why that happened, how that happened, when that happened, that whole concept.
The concept started probably way back in early 2000s, but it really accelerated a couple years ago.
Okay.
So I'm a baby stepper. Like, I baby step my way forward. I don't always want to be a baby stepper. I want to just go and get it done, but somehow I baby step my way. So I've been on a path of self-discovery, and over 2 years ago, I guess I started a loving myself first, most, and best. That is a journey that I'm continuing on. That is a journey that I want to shine the path for others to do the same, because I think, as in my generation, we were taught it's selfish to think of ourselves and to think of
like
others
that.
first.
Loving myself first,
most, and best. Yeah.
Okay.
And it sounds selfish to some, but I don't think it is.
What changed it 2 years ago that sparked into all this?
Well, it started back in the early 2000s when I was in a marriage, and I looked in the mirror one day and I woke up and I was like, who the hell is this person that is staring back at me? I didn't recognize her. So that started my journey of trying to figure out who I was again.
Separate of a
And
wife
then-
and mother.
Yes. And
Okay.
then in a couple years ago, I was in the end of 2019, I was blessed to have the opportunity to, as a coach, to learn a program around mental fitness. And it's called Positive Intelligence. And I was trained to teach this program. And it's a 6-week app based program, intensive program on learning to minimize that inner critic that we have. So the one that's always telling us we're not enough, we're not skinny enough, we're not smart enough, we're not enough.
Yeah, yeah, not enough.
And
of this.
it's teaching you to squash that inner critic and listen to your sage wisdom, your inner wisdom.
So it's kind of like
intelligence.
strengthening your mental muscle instead of physical.
Correct. It is
Okay.
your mental muscle that you are strengthening. And one of the ways it started healing me was my relationship, not only with myself but my mother, was by looking through a childlike lens. So seeing myself as a child, as an innocent, perfect child, and seeing her as an innocent, perfect child, and seeing whoever your persecutors are in life or whoever you're battling against or having troubles with, whether it's a boss, a colleague, a friend, it taught you how to turn it around.
How would you describe your relationship with your mom? Because if it was something that needed to be healed, what was it like beforehand?
I didn't have a really close relationship with her.
Uh-huh.
I felt distant from her. I felt judged by her, and the work that I have been doing, what I've learned, it's not about her. It's about me. It's about my reaction. It's about my healing journey. And when I started looking at her through childlike eyes and her being a child and seeing what happened in her life, I was able to understand things more. I was able to understand people more in general, not just my mom.
Which actually is quite interesting because your mom's mom died when she was little.
Correct. And you know what? It really wasn't. She died when she was 2 years old.
So your grandmother died
When my mom was 2 years old.
When your mom was 2,
Yes.
yeah.
And it was really never like talked about. You know, it wasn't never talked about. So it was probably not anything I thought was. I just didn't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the older I got and the more work that I have done, that is a big T trauma.
Big T trauma, and then her brother died,
Her brother died when she was 15 and he was 16.
and they were close.
They were close, and he was dared to eat a cup of sugar being a diabetic, and ultimately he died
Oh my gosh. By
Yes.
friends?
by a friend. Yeah,
He was dared.
he was dared to eat a cup of sugar.
Did
and
they
he did.
Did he know? Did they know that he was diabetic, or
Yeah, I think they did know he was diabetic, and I'm sure it was just some
Stupid teenager
Yep,
thing.
yep.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
ultimately he
God.
died. So she lost her mother at 2. She
Wow.
lost her only sibling at 15.
And then her dad was distant, you
And
said.
her dad was very distant. They did not have
Wow.
a relationship.
So that makes a lot of sense how she would be compromised as a mother.
Right. Right.
And
She,
then somewhere
Kinda
along
stunted?
the
Yeah, when you're she was a teenager when all this stuff happened.
she was a 2-year-old when her mother passed away.
Oh wow,
And she was a 15-year-old when her brother passed away.
wow.
and he was a year older, so it's like you and Sarah,
Yeah.
you know, real close.
Yeah, love hate. You know, at the same time.
So,
Yeah.
but and also for some reason, how did that morph into your mom's image becoming so important to her? Because you mentioned that was part of the problem.
Well, I know that she was not allowed. So she grew up on a farm. I grew up on a farm ultimately because we were at her farm that she grew up on. And she was not allowed to go across the street it was like girls weren't allowed. Like her father didn't feel like she should be in the barns.
Okay.
So she was taught to wear dresses, not to wear pants, to be a lady.
Okay.
Yeah.
By her dad.
By her
because her
dad.
mom wasn't there.
Correct.
Did he remarry?
Never.
Your-
No,
Oh,
he did
wow.
never remarry.
Wow. What did she die of, your grandmother?
She, I think I believe it was, if I'm correct, was in an accident, fell into a ditch that had water. It was cold. She caught pneumonia, I believe, and that's what she passed away of. Was-
Wow.
That era, there, wasn't much they could
Pneumonia
get.
was, yeah, tough
A killer
thing
for
to
many.
beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so, how was your dad? What was he like? Your dad, not her dad.
What is my dad like?
Yeah. What, like, compared to your mom? You said you weren't real close with your mom.
no,
you were
I
judged
was-
by her. You
I was
were-
very close to my dad. He was my
Really?
person. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what
Yeah.
was he like?
Bigger than life. He did wear his emotions on his sleeve like I do.
Okay.
He was everybody loved him. He was just a good guy. He used a lot of humor. He had a good heart. Not, I mean, of course my mother had a good heart too. They just showed it differently.
Yeah.
Right. He was
Yeah.
able to show his emotions.
Yeah. Some people aren't able to do that.
Right.
They do it in other ways, I guess.
Right.
But
Different love languages, like you say.
Yeah.
So this term "not enoughness," the positive intelligence, is what you were using to squelch that feeling of not being enough. But you talked about not enoughness growing up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep talking. Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
For once, she's the one. Usually, I get up.
I'm sorry, what?
So, but you mentioned the term "not enoughness" while you were growing up, and did that come from your mom?
Yeah, I believe it came from not feeling like I was worthy, and it was probably because I didn't feel like I was seen. I was the middle child, and maybe because I wore my emotions on my sleeve, maybe it made me look like I was
A mess.
yeah, or it wasn't
Weak.
strong, weak. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. That's the word I was looking for.
and she
weak.
was more stoic
Yes. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
nature. Okay.
So she probably, in the image, she didn't want you to appear like, oh, you're losing your control of your emotions. What will people think?
Right.
Kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so, yeah. So not enoughness.
And it goes back to the whole thing, I'm not good enough, not strong enough, not blah, 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 whatever, all that not enoughness that women often do.
I'm just wondering, did she carry on that mindset that she was taught, that she has to wear like dresses, or that you have to wear dresses and be girly and or whatever it is?
Does she still do that?
Yeah, did she while you were growing up?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like,
Okay.
I mean, it was, if we wore pants to church, it was, a
Like a
stink eye.
crime. Yeah.
Did she wear pearls?
No, no, she did not wear pearls.
I just think of like June Cleaver.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
They always have pearls and big
Yeah.
earrings,
Yeah,
Did
it
she,
was,
but she always wore dresses.
it was hard for her to start wearing pants, and eventually she did.
Okay.
Yeah, jeans was not a thing. She didn't wear jeans.
Mm.
I am proud to say she does have a pair of purple jeans now.
Not just jeans, but purple jeans.
Yeah.
So she
Wow.
took it and then added another level to it. Yeah.
fancy purple jeans.
If I'm gonna do it,
Okay.
I'm gonna do it fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna do it big.
I
for
once
sure.
I once wrote an article that said, "How can you be down when you're wearing purple pants?"
Yeah, it's true.
You look down, you're like, "Those are fucking purple pants."
Unless you're colorblind, then you
then you can still
they
be
might
still
look
be
brown.
down. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the answer to that question.
Absolutely
Anyway.
be down. You don't know it's purple.
All right. Anyway, so moving on to your marriage, then, how old were you when you got married, and how?
Gosh, I was a baby. I got married at 23.
Okay. And where did you meet him? And
I actually met him at my parents' kitchen table. He happened to be building, when my dad was building his shop. He was there helping build the shop.
Oh, he was one of the workers there.
He was one
Is
of
this
the
the
workers
start of a
there.
romance novel?
And
What?
my mom always fed
On the farm?
Yes, right?
Go on.
My mom always made big meals at lunchtime. That was called dinner. I know, right?
Yeah.
I do remember coming down in curlers. Didn't know we were going to have guests. Yeah, I came down in curlers.
Oh my gosh, this is a classic romance.
Great romance.
I know,
Oh,
right?
There you go.
I was
another
like
thing.
super embarrassed.
Was
yeah,
that the first
so-
time he saw
That makes you
Yeah.
relatable.
You
yeah,
were in
totally. I was in
curlers?
curlers. I was in curlers.
And then he just was like, "Damn, that's the girl. That's the one."
I don't know. I don't think it hit me then, but that's the first time I met him. So
And
he
then
was,
you just kept having dinners, you call, which was the lunchtime.
yeah, there probably was a few of those thrown in since they were building the shop.
Okay. And then he asked you out, or?
So, yeah, he asked me out, and I went, and yeah, that's how it started. And he actually was also a farmer.
Uh-huh.
I grew up a farmer. His dad had a sheep farm, so he was a sheep farmer.
So yeah, a lot in common.
Yeah.
And then what? So how long until you realized you had lost yourself?
So that probably was in the early 2000s. I'm really bad at remembering dates, but it was probably in the early 2000s when I saw myself in the mirror and was like, "Who the hell are you? Where did you go?" So that's when it started, just my self discovery. At that point, I wasn't thinking anything of divorce or whatever. It was
Right.
just like get myself back.
Yeah, yeah.
Were you kind of like on autopilot before?
Completely on autopilot.
Wow,
I was a
good
stay-at-home mom,
Okay.
and it was just like,
You're reacting, right?
Yeah.
Like survive, not survival mode, but
Yeah.
like kind of a version of that where you're like just doing what you can to get by
Right.
and stuff.
yeah, I was coping. I was coping as a mother and just getting by.
And you had two children, boy, girl,
Boy, girl,
boy,
boy first, girl second,
3 years apart.
3 years apart.
Okay,
Yes.
and that and
The American dream of a family, honestly, isn't it?
On a
See,
farm.
part of the novel.
Yeah, right.
Part of the novel. All part of the
marries the
novel.
carpenter.
We're writing a book
Here.
about your life. Okay? This sounds great. Bestseller energy right now.
Okay, go back to sleep, mister. Anyway, so you had the children, and then I already asked you about that. But yeah, so did you see any similarities between your marriage and your childhood in terms of how you felt about yourself?
You know, I think it was not being the chosen one, like never feeling like I was worthy enough to be seen.
By your husband?
Yes. And believe me, he was the hardest working person. He, he has really good qualities. He still has good qualities. And it was all about the work. That's how he was showing his love and not necessarily any emotion.
Okay.
And I needed that.
Common in men, I think.
Yes, I think it is.
Especially in like other generations and stuff. But yeah,
Right.
it's
And farmers too, they're out
farmers,
early,
yeah.
Yep.
they're working
Yep.
hard. It's
Yep.
it's all about kind of just doing,
Right.
And so yeah, and so then when you say you weren't the chosen one, oh, this dog doesn't jump. I forgot.
He just jumps up. He doesn't jump down.
Here, I'm gonna keep him here a little long. He was gonna jump down.
he would have face planted into the ground or something. Yeah.
Okay, stay here a little longer, mister. Anyway, so when you say chosen, like, did he look at your children first, or is that what you meant? Like you weren't
I just didn't
seen,
feel
or
like I was special. I didn't feel like I was.
a partner even? Or,
Yeah, I just kind of felt like I was the wife and the mother, and
and that's just
Yeah.
what you were supposed to do,
Yeah.
and not be
You forgot about your own interests.
right.
Yeah.
Completely forgot about my own interests.
Yeah, and you didn't grow together, then you grew apart.
Correct.
Yeah.
Grew apart.
Yeah.
You know, I could see my children growing up, getting out of the house, and then I was like, what now? Mm-hmm. So,
If that's like your whole identity, yeah, at that point,
right.
that'd be a scary thought. Mm-hmm. How old were they at the time?
My son was going into 8th grade and my daughter was going into 5th, so they were in grade school.
Okay, so there was still more years ahead. It wasn't like
Right.
incoming or
Right.
whatever, but
Right.
But you
Still.
decided that you needed to get a divorce, and you did it without.
You know, it was hard. It was either do I stay for them or do I leave for me?
Because then what happens to them if you're not healthy?
Right.
Yeah.
But
hurt them anyway,
it was
yeah.
it was a long struggle for me over several years of the guilt of breaking up my family. But do I stay for them or do I leave for me?
Those were
And
the
I
only
think that
choices.
was the strongest thing that I've ever done for myself
Wow.
was that.
and no, that's great.
Yeah,
That's
because
all
I
was gonna
never
say.
would have thought that I would have ever gotten divorced.
And there was no middle ground. You're thinking like there was no way because I don't think your husband could have evolved enough to allow you to grow the way you needed to grow or to see
Right.
you the way you need to be seen.
I had tried to get us to go to counseling or, try to tell him my needs. And I think he just didn't understand,
Just didn't get
didn't
it.
think I was serious. Yeah.
So when you told him you want a divorce, how did that go over?
He wanted to know what he could do what he could do. But at that point, it was really too late that my mind had already been made up. And I had asked so many times that, yeah, there was like no going back.
Sounds like he almost wasn't capable to give you what you needed.
Or he didn't think I was serious, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Or
he-
like you said, capable, because he,
if
yeah.
he wanted to, he would have.
Yeah.
You know, like
It would have been natural.
right.
Yeah, it would have been there all along, I think.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when we were dating, we had phenomenal dates. We would go 2 and 3 places: zoo, art museum, motorcycle riding,
wow.
It's
to
cute.
to the lake. Oh, more to add at the book.
Or to really, yeah, this is a great novel. The first half.
First half. The second half is also good when you see the damsel become her own person.
Yeah.
Right? She rescues herself.
That would be a sequel.
Yeah. Actually, I have a book that I've been meaning to write, and it's called Rescuing My Heart.
Ooh, like it.
All right, here's your inspiration to do it now.
Let's start with the kitchen
We'll gas
table,
you
though.
up.
Yeah,
We'll gas
right?
you up a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with the kitchen table with the curlers, everything, all of it. All of it. Yeah.
And the worker.
And your dad's worker that
Yeah.
you just met. Great. Good stuff.
Was that a chef kiss I saw?
Yeah. Writes itself, honestly.
So after you finally were divorced, then what? Did you have a lot of pieces to pick up with your
Oh
children?
my gosh, I was scared every day of my life.
Okay.
I was just making it from day to day.
And
I had to get, because it was the farm, so I'm the one leaving, and I'm the one taking my kids off the farm.
oh boy.
So
and they
I-
were 5th grade and 8th
Yeah.
grade? Yeah.
Yeah. And I rented a house, and we were in the same school district, so that worked out. Yeah, and I was really just getting from one day to the next. Oh, I was a stay-at-home mom originally, so then I had to get a job.
I was going to ask
So I had
you
to go
that,
back
yeah.
to corporate America. So then it was just a matter of, oh my gosh, making it from one day to the next.
Because, getting up, getting the kids off
Yep.
to work you go,
Yep.
home for dinner. Oh.
Yeah.
Weren't you originally in corporate America?
was
and you had
corporate
like a
America.
successful career and
Yeah,
everything, right?
I did.
And you
then
gave it all up.
I gave it all up for the kids. My whole heart was in raising my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing
wouldn't-
wrong with that.
Right. I
No.
wouldn't blame. That was a great decision for me. I wouldn't have changed that.
Right. But it's an identity shift.
Yeah,
For sure.
totally the identity shift.
Because now you're, instead of being the successful corporate person, you're a successful mother.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that you were able to spend time with your kids and everything.
Yeah. Yes.
But then there's that other piece of your identity that's kind of no longer there. And you're like, okay, I am this, but I need more
Right.
from whatever else is happening in life and everything.
One of my clients' kids, Judy Cannonberg's
Yeah.
daughter, says that the biggest difference for her being a mom is that there's no concrete goals that you reach. I mean, every day is just keeping them alive, basically. But whereas if you're at work, you have a project, you get it done, you get reviewed by whoever,
Right.
and you get this feeling of satisfaction at the end of the day, whereas you don't necessarily know. I mean, yeah, oh, great, they learned how to walk. Oh, now they're potty trained. But it's not every day that you have a concrete
Right.
plan. You
Right.
just, except
You-
for keeping them alive.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good start, anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just getting day to day.
And how did they do with the divorce?
My daughter, better than my son. My son, he saw it as me taking him away from the farm.
Mhm.
And my daughter understood a little bit more. And then I don't know if it was because of her younger age or because of her being a female,
Female. Yeah.
where she understood the emotional piece.
Okay.
So
How are they now?
good. A few years ago, I think, my daughter and I talk all the time about it. Like, we used to talk about it all the time. And she actually said that she thought he became a better father because he
Okay.
was more
Maybe it was like a rock
invested.
bottom for him in a way.
Yeah, maybe.
And that sometimes when you hit rock bottom, some people continue to go down,
Yeah.
but then there's others that use it as like a foundation to build off of, kind of
He
thing.
was a really good dad. Taught them so many valuable lessons about the farm and the circle of life, and
I'm sure.
but he did not believe in organized sports or organized religion. He had a big T trauma that happened in his life too, that I think that also shaped his growing up. And one of his oldest brother was killed in an accident, so that shaped him as well. So he did not like organized sports and organized religion. And the kids were in sports, so it was like I'd take the kids to sports, and he would be working on the farm.
Didn't he, in fact, blame soccer for your divorce?
He did. He did think that it was soccer because we were gone with soccer. My kids both played.
So even in the divorce, he still didn't see what you were trying to
Right,
say.
right.
That it's not about the soccer.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah.
is he still on the farm?
He is. He's still on the farm. My son and daughter go there all the time.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And you have an amicable relationship with
Yeah.
him? I mean, good
Yeah.
enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he started coming to some of our holidays with us just because it makes it easier. My son and his wife have a new baby, so I have a new grandbaby.
Oh,
So it's
nice.
just made it easier for us to kind of celebrate together sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
So yeah, I would say it's okay.
Did either of you ever remarry?
No.
Or redate.
Me not much. Him no at all. I'm open. I'm open for it.
You got to find a kitchen table on a farm and a worker.
No, I'm
Yeah.
open for new.
For a new meet cute? Yeah.
Of course, I think they're going to show up at my door magically, but yeah.
Right. Don't we all?
What concerns me, because I'm widowed, obviously, and I'm nowhere near interested in dating, but if I think forward, my personal transformation has really taken off too since his death, because like you, I was in caregiving mode with my parents and my husband and even my younger brother, and so there were all these things I wanted to do. So when he died, I kind of threw myself into it in order to deal with the grief. And now I'm worried if I were to meet somebody that they would somehow take that away. Like I want somebody that sees what I'm trying to achieve with my personal growth and supports it, as opposed to either ignores it or squelches it. I guess that's the choice you have if you meet somebody, is that you don't allow that.
Right, that's one of your non-negotiables.
Ah, love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that a term you made?
Non-negotiable. Oh, it's not a term I created, but it's a term I do use. Like what?
Like it's just, yeah, you're not.
Yeah.
I have all these interests, all these things I like to do, and I'm going to continue doing them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's. I'm enjoying the freedom right now, I have to say. I think it's because he was so sick at the end that it was 2 years of just really
and now it's
hard.
time to take care of you.
Right. What did you call that? For me first.
Oh, loving yourself first, most, and best.
I like it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do like that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's great.
And that is really part of my coaching that I do, is I want to help women to fall in love with themselves,
wow.
because we don't, right? We think of
Yeah.
everybody else but ourselves.
Yeah, to really feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Katie and I have this ongoing thing that we say that we're pretty. We don't wait for other people to say it.
We do. Yeah.
But it's really, that's just a joke, like why wait for others to compliment you when you can compliment yourself? And that for me started with my dad, because he was never one to compliment. And so when I was taking care of him, I would say straight to him, "Aren't I fantastic, Dad? Didn't I do a great job? I'm the best daughter. I'm the best daughter." And then he'd say something like, "No, you're the worst daughter." And I'm like, "Well, I'm your only daughter. So technically I'm both."
I was thinking that,
You want to go down?
like, I think it would be, it annoys me more when someone who's, like, obviously very beautiful acts like they aren't beautiful. And, like, "Oh, I'm not pretty." Like, come on. But, like, we all know that she's lying. Like, just be honest. If you think you're pretty, just say you're pretty. You know what I mean?
Like, especially the very pretty people. Like the,
Yeah, like, people know if they're pretty. You know what I mean? Like, just say it.
and men know too if they're handsome.
Yeah, absolutely they do.
Okay.
Like, just own it, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Announce it, or just
yeah, you don't have to, like, scream it from the mountaintop, but don't be like, "Oh, me, I'm so ugly."
no. Look at me, I got a crooked tooth. I remember.
Yeah, look at this, all these flaws. Yeah, and it's just like
I
a
remember
little.
Farrah Fawcett saying that in one of her interviews is that I'm really not that pretty. I got a crooked nose and my teeth are funny. And I'm like, you bitch.
Lying.
You are
lying
Farrah
bitch.
Fawcett. Own it. You know.
Okay, Dunkel, you wanted to get down.
He cray cray.
Figure your way out. Anyway, let's talk about your personal transformation then. When when it really took off, you said a couple years ago you really started
Yeah,
to.
when I started doing that, mental fitness,
positive
that positive intelligence,
intelligence.
yeah, that's what started it. And I have to say, I have these self-care practices, soul care practices, I also call them esteemable practices, where I find little things that keep me on the path of transformation. You know, like meditation, or I had this thing that I do at night. It's called turn down service. Like when you go to a fancy hotel and you come back into your room and your bed is turned down and there's like a mint on the pillow or whatever,
Yeah.
and the lights are low. I learned that in a course that I was taking, and one of the women talked about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So it's just called turn down service. You turn down your bed, you get rid of extra pillows.
I heard about it on Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
The first
really?
time, yeah, because Lorelai Gilmore, the lead, she owned an inn. And
Oh, yeah.
would talk about
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
down service, and it caused a lot of like drama on the show and stuff because for certain scenes. But I didn't know about it either beforehand.
Yeah.
But, so
Yeah,
you
I
do
just-
it for yourself.
Yeah, I do it for myself. Yeah, turn the lights
nice.
down low, or you could even light a candle or spray your pillow.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I do, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. Epsom salt bath.
I
you
like
can,
that.
Yeah.
And
Affirmations. There's so many things that you can do too.
And the ritualistic nature of it too kind
Yeah.
of calms you down, gets you ready for rest and
Yep.
sleep and all that. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. Usually I just crash into bed, brush my
Drunk?
teeth 3 hours later.
Just get
Usually
it-
drunk. Yeah, it's true.
Where's the wine?
The contrast is just is funny.
Like,
She falls asleep sitting up with her mouth open.
I'm sure I do too.
That's her.
like I'm gonna try that.
That's her
As soon as it
turn down
came out of my
service.
mouth, as soon as I said that, I was like, "No, I'm not."
Turned
No,
down for
no, no.
what?
You do it an hour ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
When you're awake, you
Or
come
maybe
in,
in
you
the
do
morning.
it. Yeah, right, in the morning.
When
Yeah.
one of the days shortly after Terry's death, I had a complete meltdown with the Brunos, Gail and Frank and Jessica Bruno, and they drove me home. And they were sitting in the living room with me and letting me cry. And the daughter, Jessica, who at the time was like, I think 25, 24, something like that, she didn't tell me, but she went into my room and she pulled back my bed and smoothed everything out, fluffed the pillows, and sprayed this stress relief stuff I had. And then they said, okay, let's get you to bed. And I walk in there and I'm like, oh my gosh. And she goes, yeah, isn't that a sweet thing to feel like loved?
To feel cared for.
Yeah, and you can do it yourself. is
Yes,
what
you
you're
do
saying.
it yourself.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So
That's a nice.
Drunk.
I'm still picturing the mouth open, not even making it to bed. You know.
I've curled up here a few times. And really, since Terry died, it's been pretty bad,
Oh,
or
yeah.
good or whatever. Like, meaning I'm just trying to get through day to day,
Mm-hmm.
like you say. And I
Yeah.
can feel I'm starting to come out of it now, the shock
yeah.
of that, But yeah, maybe someday I'll try turn down service.
Yeah. It actually sounds very nice.
And what else do you do? You said you have all these things that you do, like this necklace. Where did that come about?
I actually work with a woman. Her name is Hope, and she created this a talisman, and it's just like a personal. It gives you energy. It's just like personally done for me. She had a session with me, and based off of what came through during my session, and based on my chakras and your energy, she created this for me. So it's just like a.
Do you wear it often?
Not as often as I probably should.
Okay. Yeah, because she showed up and she was like Wonder Woman. Hands on the hips, let's go.
Let's go. Red cape flying.
How can you be down in a purple necklace?
There you go.
Right?
Unless you're colorblind.
That's your
Purple
color.
pants, purple necklace.
Bring it full circle a little bit.
Yeah.
So, are you looking forward to more evolving?
Absolutely. So not only am I a teacher, but I am a student. So I'm still learning, but I will tell you that my days are vice versa what they used to be. So they used to be more fear based. Now they're more love based.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, my hands. I talk with my hands.
That's fine. Yeah, we do too.
It's true.
That's
we
why I'm
do.
holding this
In
paper.
fact, the artist mostly saw Katie's pictures with her hand out doing something. So
Yeah, I'm always very expressive with my hands.
is sky the limit in terms of how much you can evolve?
Oh my gosh, I
spiritually
think
and
you
transform and grow.
Yeah, I
and
think so. I think
can
if
you
just
arrive?
keep right,
Yeah.
you never arrive. It's about the
The path.
the journey. It's not
Yeah.
about the destination.
And I think you arrive when you die, and then maybe carry on somewhere
Right.
else.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah. So if somebody were to, what kind of people do you have as clients? Like, how does somebody come to you, and what are they looking for usually?
I would say looking to be on the path of transformation. Like they know there is more for their life.
Okay.
Like I believe that my client would be somebody that maybe is in the second half of their life. Not that I wouldn't take anybody, that was looking for personal growth. It's just about those people that are wanting something better.
Yeah, where they're turning around and being like, how did I get
There's
here?
something
And
more,
I'm
right?
not
I
fulfilled.
think so many people live on autopilot and nobody is like being present. That was my issue. I was not present. I was always worrying about, yesterday or jumping into tomorrow. It's about being present.
Yeah, missing your life.
Yeah,
Because
missing
you're
your
just,
life.
just scrambling all the time.
Right, scrambling,
Yeah.
playing catch up.
So how do people contact you then? Do they go on your website and fill
Yeah,
out a
my
contact
website.
form? And then
Yep, I have a contact form on imperfectlycharming.com.
And what are your services then? Do you,
I actually created a book, The 6-Step Path to Self-Love.
Okay.
So I have a book where people can do it on their own. It's a guide. It's an immersive experience where you can, it's all about your own journey.
okay.
And I also have, they can do I have a favorite private Facebook group that
okay.
goes with this book. And then I also have one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, another one what? That you use when you're coaching?
No, I said I have another program, the Positive Intelligence.
Oh, right.
So now I teach that, one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
So people can go through that with me.
and you went through training for that basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
this is
you
very
can
nice.
reach me on Instagram at imperfectlycharming.com or Facebook, Imperfectly Charming with Cheryl Goodwin McGarrah.
What do you do one-on-one?
I do one-on-one
well?
coaching.
Yeah. Nice. This is really neat the way. Did you actually design it and all that too, or have help with?
I created it and my brand manager made it beautiful.
It's really beautiful. Doodles. I love doodles.
Yeah.
I do too.
I know. That's why I handed it to you. So, how did you get to meet Kim Richardson?
I actually did a course from her several years ago.
Okay.
And then she was putting the compilation book together for kindness.
Okay.
And I immediately knew I wanted to be a part of that. And then when this came along, I was like, oh my gosh, 365 days of self-love, sign me up.
I'll take as many days.
I will, right.
I
I
think
will
you
take
have
as-
about 10 in there, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
All little stories about
Yeah.
inspiration.
I love it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can list out, and we can put that in the notes too, what pages those are on.
Oh,
'cause
sure.
Some people have this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the proceeds from this book went to help women and children, which I love.
Oh, I love it. All of them.
Except for people that have purchased individual copies, but all the ones that they purchase off of Amazon, all the proceeds go.
Got it.
So I love that idea.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's see. Well, there's so many. These questions are similar, but do you say you have
You
a
wrote
book?
it.
I know. That's sort of redundant.
Man, some of these questions are similar. Who wrote this?
Who wrote this? Obviously not a writer. But you mentioned that you wrote poetry as a child.
I did write poetry
What
as
kind
a
of
child.
poetry?
You know, it was probably super goofy. I had a little binder. I know I wrote in 6th grade, and I was trying to remember, like, because I saw this question. I was like, what did I write on? And one of them, I remember there were lemons and limes in it, and it was about a boy. You know, probably like I had a crush on some boy. And I stopped writing poetry, and I think the reason why I stopped writing poetry was my mom kept threatening that I better clean my room up. And apparently I didn't, because she came in and she threw the book away.
Oh.
I know it. And I think I had a block after that. I think I wrote one more poem in high school. And after that, I didn't write poetry again. And I don't know if it was a block of, it wasn't good enough to be seen, it was thrown away. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Oh,
But I ended up becoming a writer. I went back to school and finished up my degree. And I found out that I loved to write. I was like, oh, dang, I love to write.
Did you ever revisit any of your old poems?
And they were thrown away.
Oh, that's right.
They were burned.
but they weren't okay, and they weren't necessarily in your
couldn't
head
retrieve any
either.
of
No, it
because
was
you
when
were
I
a
was
kid.
I was in grade school.
Yeah. Oh,
But it's
Yeah.
still kind of fun to like look back. I mean, if you were able to.
Yeah, it had the coolest binder too.
That's a bragging
It was
right.
purple and blue.
Ah,
Back
purple.
to purple.
Yeah.
Can't be down when you have a purple binder.
Unless you're
Right?
colorblind.
Unless you're
Cannot-
colorblind.
Yeah. So yeah, I discovered how much I love to write.
So you say you have a title called in mind for a book called
Something
Your
like Rescuing My Heart.
Rescuing Your Heart. What else do you think
Are you
you'd like to write in the
Currently
future?
working on it? Or is
You
it
know, I started
just
it.
an idea?
I started it.
Okay.
And I write my weekly blog, and someone keeps saying, "Why don't you make that into a book?"
You
But I've
probably
been
could.
I've
Yeah.
been doing it since 2015. So
Weekly?
weekly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's just like personal stories about inspiration and hope.
I
And
love it. I'm
yeah.
gonna check that out
Yeah.
on your imperfectlycharming.com.
Yeah. yeah.
So, and they don't have to necessarily be long, correct?
Oh, they're very short. They're under 1,000 words.
Yeah. Well,
They're probably 5 or 6.
Okay.
that's still a decent amount. Oops.
Yeah, so I write.
I haven't
write
hit the
once a week.
microphone for a long time, Katie. I just did.
I know.
Remember, I used to hit it with my wine glass.
Yes. All
Again,
the time.
I was not offered wine.
And it was always conveniently when I was talking too.
Oh,
Very convenient. And then she'd be like, oh, sorry.
Totally interrupt the flow.
It's funny now. But
Oh, jeez.
I guess, do you have any recommendations for people who are on their own self-discovery?
I am going to say allow yourself grace. Give yourself a break, because we're so hard on ourselves. We always beat ourselves up, and we never allow ourselves to give ourselves credit for anything that we do. And I want to say to people that look at your day and see what's good about your day, and kind of appreciate that, and try new things for yourself. Maybe it's something that you've never wanted to try, something that you've always wanted to try, or do something for yourself. Maybe it's a bubble bath, or read a book that you haven't done, or have coffee with a girlfriend.
Turn down service. Yeah.
Turn down service. Yes. Meditation. Meditation could be 5 minutes. Meditation can be 1 minute. Meditation.
Can be while you're walking.
I
yeah.
use YouTube for a 10-minute meditation most mornings.
Okay. Nice.
Free.
Okay.
I find working out helps.
Oh, yeah. Exercise. Getting into nature. Grounding.
Oh, yes. Getting into nature is a big one.
Yeah. Every time that I would have an energy session with somebody, they would always say, you need to ground. Like grounding to Mother Earth. I'm like, dang it. Why do they keep telling me that?
At the time.
I didn't learn it yet.
Yeah. I got to go outside. Yeah.
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 I need to repeat.
I got it. Right.
Rinse and repeat.
Do you like
Yeah,
the
you're right.
mountains?
I love being in nature. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to climb a mountain, but I love
I
mountains.
like looking at them.
You grew up on a farm. I mean,
I did grow
talk
up on a
about
farm.
nature, right?
Yeah.
Talk about
Yeah.
no mountains either. Like,
Right.
Well, I
It
mean,
could
around
be
here, yeah.
hilly.
In other
Yeah.
places, yeah. But
Yes.
around here, you're not going to see many mountains in your farm.
Do you ever have people that start with you and then resist the growth? Where they just think, oh, I don't want to do this, or oh, this is a bunch of baloney.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
where they close down, you know, people just fight themselves.
Do they fight themselves?
Yeah.
I think we're our own worst enemy.
Right. And then you just allow that. I mean,
I mean, you have to. You're on your own journey, and if like nobody can force you to do it,
right.
Yeah.
So you can't.
so you
convince
just
them
keep.
otherwise.
So I just keep shining my light
Yeah.
for illuminate the path for others to follow, and I'm also looking for people to shine the light for me too, right? So, women,
Do we do that?
yes, of course,
And are we pretty?
you are.
So we're the prettiest people that
You
have done
are.
it for you.
And we're not colorblind.
And we're not colorblind
No.
either. Hidden perk.
But neither one of you have purple.
True.
No, I don't wear a lot of purple, unfortunately. I gotta do that.
Growing
Step
up,
on
I
it.
have to say purple was my favorite color. The color that my mother, I can't even believe she let me do this. The color of the paint was called grape. It was like the darkest purple ever. And they let paint my wall. She let me paint my whole room dark purple.
Oh, wow.
And then I hated purple.
Well,
But now I'm
purple-
okay with purple.
Isn't purple in the chakras like
It is. I
high
think
up
it. Oh,
with
it's your
the-
crown. Is it your crown chakra?
I think, or the white is the that's where you're transcending. So it's it's your crown.
Yeah.
Where and so what they say wearing purple makes you smarter. Gives you more gives you more energy. And so when we're doing yoga on our purple mats, sometimes we have some purple, some pink, and you're upside down with your head toward the mat, and then the blood flows going to the head. I'm like, you guys are getting so smart right now. And you know, just or getting back to what they were, you know, from what life kind of like clogs your brain or whatever. It's supposed to clear your head. So that's what I'm told about purple.
It's so wise.
I know.
You're so wise and so pretty.
Thank you.
So not colorblind.
You're like really pretty. She's taught me a lot. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with people? We've done a lot of laughing. I just love laughing with you. It's fun,
Too, I
and
do too.
Yeah.
you know, I just feel like you're just so easy to know. I would recommend her to anybody that wants to laugh and wants to grow and learn, and just improve. And you know, life is very hard if you don't evolve this way. It can be very stifling with the chores and the musts and the, you know, just
The shoulds.
just the and the shoulds, and then the hassles.
Yeah.
It's exhausting sometimes just trying to get a person on the phone or whatever. So if you don't have this kind of creative outlet to escape to, or this transcendence that you can do to not fall into that rut of humanity, you know, and
It can be hard because that negativity draws people in. One thing that I didn't mention that it really was important in my life that started probably in 2017 was following the law of attraction.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you, that's been a game changer for me.
explain that.
It is like begets like. So if you are having negative thoughts, if you're feeling negative, if you're angry, more of that is going to be attracted to you.
Okay.
And so I try to do like a little appreciation, like, you know, like today I was just having appreciation for you reaching out to me originally about the podcast and a beautiful day and the
Nice.
sun and just being appreciative of things in your life that are working, even though there's some things that may not be working. But if just watch, if you are negative, more of it's coming to you. I guarantee you it's coming.
And you can always find positive, I find. Like even, you know, Terry dying.
Right.
There's still beauty all around you. You know, I'm talking the moment he died even was beautiful. And his funeral, it was a lot of laughter. Even though it's so sad, I think it's important to, it's always there. The positivity, the laughter, the smiles, the opportunity for grace and gratitude is always there, even in the worst of circumstances.
is.
And so, and it's nice to know that you can always choose that.
Choice, right? It's
Yeah.
a choice. When my dad was passing that night, the day we knew that he was passing, so many people came. And it was like the most beautiful living day for him. What do I want to say? Living
Living like celebration of
It
life?
really was. It was a celebration of people
Or a
saying
living
goodbye.
funeral.
I think,
almost.
yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking
That's
of,
what
a
some
living
people
funeral.
say,
It was heartbreaking, but it was beautiful because everybody came and
And
was
like, look
able
at your
to.
life, and look at how
Yeah.
you were loved by so
Yeah,
many.
and he made sure he told everybody he loved them, you know.
Yeah, yeah, that is beautiful.
Right. So you're right. In sadness there can be beauty
Yeah,
and there can be gifts. And look
Yes.
at the gifts you were talking about that you're looking forward to as your life, you know, you doing stuff now for yourself and
I never thought I would be in this situation,
mhm.
but since I am, I'm making the best of it. You know, I would take him back in a heartbeat
Mhm.
and keep going my merry way. I like to say that a lot. I always
Mary.
I like to go my merry
No
way.
pun intended. Or pun
All
intended.
of the puns that are intended.
So when people say eat, drink, and be merry, I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Sounds
I do
great.
that every day.
Been there, done that.
I eat and I drink and I be merry. I'm always merry.
Right.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm looking forward to just figuring out. It's almost like a divorce in that I just realized that now. Like, okay, now what do I want to do? Like, I'm actually single.
Mhm.
What do I want to do?
I've always thought that in reverse too. Like when you go through a breakup, especially if you've been with them for a long time, it's like it feels like you have to grieve the person. So the two go hand in hand in a way. Like even though they're still around, but you have to grieve the life that you had.
So, like, a breakup is a form of death, and a divorce is a form of death. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
and a death is a form of a divorce. Yeah, like they're kind of
Yep. Yeah.
the same but reversed. You know.
And a rebirth.
And a rebirth, and each one
It's a new
needs to be
beginning.
grieved.
Yeah.
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 I do have a question about for you because you're of a younger generation. What is your feeling about self-love and what is your stance on that?
I think it's more accepted in our generation.
I think so too.
But growing up, I think we were still, because we were raised by like your generation, or whatever. We were raised by that, and there was still remnants of it. However, we started to, like, therapy, I think, is more common than it's ever been. And while I was growing up, it was starting to become, I mean, it probably was before then too, a little bit.
Not too much, though. Not,
But in
not
the
as
90s,
kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I was in therapy growing up, and I mean, I think that's a huge difference in the generations, is that were not shying away from working on themselves. Like millennials are always like so confused and like try to like be better, and you know, then we just don't
Actually,
know.
and it's interesting you say that now because I'm thinking of teenagers that I have clients have either grandkids or they know somebody that now it's like the in thing. Like, you're nobody if you're not like in some kind of anxious state or some kind of therapy. It's the cool thing to go to a mental hospital.
And that's the generation after me. Yeah, it's like getting more and more normal to like be open about it. And I think it's like every single generation it gets a little bit better.
Well,
Honestly.
COVID's really opened the door, right? When that happened, that opened the door for talking about.
Yeah, because they talk
Mental
about it
health.
now, and like a couple teenagers I know, they just love announcing. You know, I feel like all my friends have gone to a mental hospital except for me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
And it's like a bragging right.
And then
you
when
know?
they come home, they're like, "That was like
Oh,
going
you're
to
on-
camp."
You're on antidepressants too? Cool, man.
Power to the people.
Like,
Yeah,
is this
it's
like
totally-
day camp or night camp or what is this?
Yeah, it sounds like a fun
wanna
kind of
go.
camp, honestly. I don't know.
So I mean, I think that's a little extreme to not be nobody if you're not depressed or not needing growth or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, but I think somewhere in between is ideal. Maybe your generation, because it's okay to not be okay in your generation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that it's more common it's okay to not be okay. But yeah, the generation following us is definitely more, it's even more so.
It's
you know,
okay. It's not
progressed.
okay to be okay.
It's not okay to be okay with the
we, as usual, life is a pendulum. We're over here now.
I don't want to be okay.
Oh, I love that. It's not okay to be okay.
We should call the episode that, or a blog. We should do a blog on that.
I think that's funny.
Oh my gosh, too much laughter. No
Well-
such thing as too much. So much.
I think this is a good point to kind of wrap it up and everything. I appreciate you coming on, and this has been a really good story. I know you were saying like, oh, I don't know if my story is interesting enough, but I'm like, I was listening and I was like, wow, this is so cool.
The curlers did it, right? The curlers did it.
It was the curlers and the farmer boy, and I was sold. Okay.
You can say anything, and we're sold. We're buying the book.
But I think that's interesting though, that it's like you think that you're not like, this is not you, but just the general you. You think you're not interesting, or that what you went through can't help another person, but like when you actually say it out loud, it reaches people.
Yeah.
And you don't, in ways you don't expect.
Yeah.
You know, and it's really a positive thing. And I'm glad you came on.
I'm glad you invited me. I'm so excited.
And
to-
also,
meet you.
sometimes it's better to you don't always need this capital T trauma, as you call it, like somebody dies suddenly or somebody tries to kill you or whatever, to need growth, need transformation, to be lost. I think it's more the other way, where you don't necessarily have this, this thing that says, this is why I feel unfulfilled. You just do, and that's
Right.
more the norm. And I think for people to recognize, you don't have to have a capital T trauma to not be okay. We're back to that again.
Right.
I just know that people want to be respected, supported, valued, and seen. Everybody across the
Yes.
board, right? No
Respect.
matter your
There's
age, no
another one.
matter your gender, no matter your whatever. Everybody wants to be
Supported,
respected, supported, valued, and seen.
Yes.
seen.
I agree with that. Even if they don't realize it.
Right.
Yeah. It might be like a subconscious thought, but I think people do feel better
They
when
want to know
are
they
seen.
matter.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Cheryl Goodwin Magera.
Well, thank you, Mary and Katie. It's
un-
been a
under-
pleasure.
What is it? Unpredictably?
No, imperfectly charming.
.com.
Yes,
We'll put it
.com.
down on
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So, but yes, Cheryl Goodwin Magera. I got that.
Yeah.
Magera.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Except for I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm not good enough.
Except I didn't.
You are good enough.
And I'm not colorblind.
But you're not colorblind.
And you don't have to wear purple.
Right.
All right, everybody. Till next time.
Till next time.
Yeah. Thanks.
Subscribe to us on Patreon.
Yeah. For a while.
Follow us on YouTube.
we
All of those
she'll cut
things.
it.
Follow us.
It's funny because